All right, y'all, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that come from Allah, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? We spent a good, maybe a month, 2 months on 1 Corinthians chapter 13, dealing with, the things that pertain to love. Prayerfully, it was beneficial for all those who partook and the said words of the living Elohim, and that you may be able to take those things and apply them to yourselves, that your soul might be strengthened, and you have the ability that your love would not fail, that in all things you would praise Yahuwah. But now it's time to move on to another topic. So let's delve straight in, and let's take ourselves to Job, the 38th chapter, and first verse, and do it like that. Job 38 and 1. Rock it like that, It's decided that while we were going through 1 Corinthians 13, that I noticed it in 1 Corinthians 14, and I said, you know what? Matter of fact, let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2 and 1. I say, you know what? We got to deal with this. And I wasn't too enthused at the first, but Yah has a way of showing that, you know what? That's the direction I need you to go in. So that's what we got to do. So 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1. Listen what he say, right? He said, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by ruach, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of a Mashiach is at hand. So when we look at this here, right, and this is talking about the man of sin, and we talked about this during dealing with endure all things, and we mentioned it last Shabbat. Matter of fact, and we're going to deal with this. And we're going to deal with this Job 38, because he said, don't be shaken in mind or troubled. Let's hear. Don't be shaken in mind or troubled. See, pause. John chapter 14. See, that's what we're going to do. Don't be shaken in mind and don't be troubled. You keep that in mind. Not by nothing that's going to go down. Don't be shaken in mind nor be troubled. Yeah, man. Praise Yah for the word. That's John 16. My apologies. Shalom, man. We got one for you, at least for this week. I don't know if it's gonna carry into to 2 weeks, but it's definitely gonna be a strong one, y'all willing, this week. 16 to 20. That's my prediction. John 16 and 20. Truly, truly, I say unto you that ye shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice, and ye shall be sorrowful, but your sorrow shall be turned into joy. So remember what we just seen in Thessalonians, right? Don't be shaken in mind or trouble. Remember what he said in John 14? Let's swing over there to John 14, because he said you got a little sorrow in your heart, because he finna die. It was really John 14 what I wanted. My apologies. It's John 14 and 1. That's what I really want. That's what it was. It was John 14 and 1. Oh, I forgot to call cuz. Sour deal on my part. He said, let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in Elohim, believe also in me. He said, don't let your heart be troubled. Don't let it be troubled. Now, this is what you need to do to not let it be troubled. Now, let's get to the meat of the matter, of why we here and what we started. Now we go back to Job 38. and 1 to get back to why we here. Don't let your heart be troubled now. If you believe in Elohim, you ought to believe in Yahushua. You ain't got no business letting your heart be troubled. Let's look at a statement in Job 38:1. We could turn around and look at it in Job 42, and we will, because we're going to run it back to back. We're going to run it back to back, because we're going to make sure we exhaust every parameter it means with this particular topic, because we just going to have to deal with it. We're just going to have to deal with it. Job 38:1 says, Yahuwah answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkened counsel by words without knowledge? So pause. He said, who is this individual that's going to darken counsel? Try to make void a recommended course of action, running their mouth, don't know what they talking about. See, hold on. Be with me, because I'm going to take the long road. I could be succinct with it, but I don't want to be. Romans chapter 10. Romans 10. He said, you trying to darken counsel without knowledge. So let's see what that means. And I could go for examples out the text, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to just hit you with this Romans 10:1. Because darkening counsel without knowledge is you trying to make void the words of the wise, and you don't know what you're talking about. See, you see that a lot with a lot of people in Yasharal. They're trying to make the word void. Nigga don't know what they talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And there's too many people out here running their mouth, don't know what they talking about. That's why we were talking about what we talked about last Shabbat. And of course, it's going to get weaved in again if we talking about don't be troubled in your mind. Because you got people right now, they building a wall to keep us in when America go down and martial law. This man ain't told you nothing about that crap. Man ain't told you nothing about that. That's not to say that it couldn't occur. Please don't get it twisted. But that man ain't told you nothing about that. So what you worried about it for? You're going to be worried about it to the point that when this man of sin come and go to teaching against the Kadash covenant and blaspheming the tabernacle and Shamahim, that you're going to be right along there with him. Because you got everybody thinking about it's Israel this and Israel that. I'm going to told you once, I done told you twice, and I'm going to tell you 3 times. Boy, these people not going to persecute you and kill you because you're an Israelite. And if you believe that, you are grossly misinformed. You're grossly misinformed. They could care less. It kills me every time I hear dudes say, the one thing the devil don't want out there is that we the true Israelites. Where you read that in the text? Where you ever seen that the devil care about that? Where you seen that at? When it say the devil going to persecute those who keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith in Yahushua at the end. Where you seen he care about that? Oh, they know they Israel. I don't want the world to know that. What would he rather stop? You know the true Savior of the living Elohim, Yahushua HaMashiach, or you know that you an Israelite. And he'll let you know you an Israelite all day long, every day of the week. Ain't gonna make no difference because it ain't gonna save you in the end. But if you got the faith of Yahushua along with obedience to the word, that's the power of salvation to overcome death. Don't let these people make no fool out you. Don't say you ain't been warned. Romans 10:1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Elohim for Yasharal is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of Elohim, but not according to knowledge. For they being ignorant of Elohim's knowledge and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of Elohim. See, there he is right there when you go to talking about darkening counsel without knowledge. We could read in Acts 5 when they say we told you expressly not to preach in this thing and beat the apostle, but we read that during bear all things and endure all things. We could read when them people consistently call Hamashiach Beelzebub, trying to darken counsel without knowledge. We could sit back and look at every example of where he healed individuals and they try to darken counsel without knowledge. And we could sit back and look at every single solitary time this man preached the word and they tried to, and we dealt with that to a certain extent, contend with the word that he spoke. They were trying to darken counsel without knowledge. You know, it'd be funny to me because it seems like every time I get on this thing, boy, we have a certain amount of subscribers and they go down. And I'd be wondering what sermon offended them this time. What words spoke or preached offended them this time. Because we might offend a lot of people with this particular topic. And praise be to Yah if they be offended. If they just be offended, but to repent and say they saw. Back to Job 38:1. We started at the top again. See, that's our biggest problem. We got a zeal for Elohim, not according to knowledge, because you're going about to set your own righteousness and not Elohim's righteousness. No doubt, shoot, I'd be laughing too, because shoot, we here to save souls, not to please men or cater to men. Kira say, that's just what it be. That's how I got to go down. It got to go down. I be like, what offended them this time? What a son had to offend them. I don't like him. He talk too much crap. He say nigga, or I don't agree with what he preaching. You ain't got to agree with it. Agree with Yah. You ain't got to agree with me. Agree with Yah. I ain't nobody. Job 31. And then Yahuwah answered Job out of the whirlwind, who is this that darken counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. And that's what we here to deal with this evening and this week. Y'all willing we get through it. He say, gird up your loins like a man. What does that mean, to gird up your loins like a man? Well, the first word that we would have to look at is gird up, and it is a zar. It's an aleph. It's a zayin, and it's a rosh. It means to gird, or to clothe, or to gird yourself with strength. Just because I just want to read it. Isaiah 26 and 1. Let's look at how we can gird ourselves up with strength. Matter of fact, pause. Revelation chapter 15 actually. Because it say the gird or the clothe. So let's look at what we need to be clothing ourselves with. If you're talking about you want to be a man. Gird up your loins like a man. That's all you need to do. Gird them up, man. It's 16. I'm tripping. 16 and 15. I'm bugging y'all. Forgive me. 16 and 15. But see, hold on. Back it up a little bit. I might as well. 16 and 10. Because I guess it's that time y'all willing for us to go to talking about the stuff that's going to occur at the end. You know, it's a lot of things a lot of people say ain't in line with this word. Get yourself in line with this word. Get your little Ruach HaKadosh. What the Sunday people say, get you a little bit of Holy Ghost. I ain't mad at you. I ain't finna contend with you about it. That's the stuff I be seeing dudes be doing. That junk be pissing me off. You know what I'm saying? I ain't finna argue with you if you want to say Holy Ghost or Ruach HaKadosh. I don't say Holy Ghost. But if you do, I don't care. I don't care if you say Jesus Christ. I don't. I'm not finna waste inordinate amount of time disputing with you about that fact. You want to say, hey, man, I'm good. I'm a Christian. You want to call yourself a Christian, that's cool. I'm not. And I'm not calling myself a Christian, but for one reason and one reason alone. I don't have no book for that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see the mistranslation in Greek where he say, you know, if thou suffer as a Christian and all that. Hey, man, I'm good. They didn't call themselves Christian. Other people did. You know what I'm saying? And they were doing that to mock them. And that's cool if you want to. It just simply means follower of Christ. Hey, that's all well and good, brother. To you. But I'm going to stick with what the text say. And I'm going to be a Yahudim. Because that's one who is circumcised in the heart. And that's it. That's just how I see it. But truth be told, as we've already discussed and expressed explicitly, it is more important for me to be a son of Elohim than it is to be a Christian. You know, saying you were Yahudim for all intents and purposes, you would in reality be stating that you were son of Elohim in the same breath, because you couldn't be a son of Elohim without being circumcised in the heart, and you can't be circumcised in the heart unless you were born of the water and of the Ruach and were born again. But see, nevertheless, I have text for when Paul say, you know, a Yahudim is one who's circumcised in the heart. I have book for that. You know what I'm saying? I can go in the book and I can pull that out and I can see that. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't go in the book and pull out a Christian. So therefore, I wouldn't identify with something that scripturally I cannot back from the law and the prophets in the New Testament to make such a claim. See, that's just how simple it is for me. I would pray that it's this simple for everyone else. It's just as simply as the text don't bear witness to this nomenclature, to this title. But if you choose to accept that title and hearken unto it, more power to you. I ain't finna argue with you about it. You see dudes arguing with dudes because they call themselves a Christian. We Hebrews, we ain't Christians. Christians are lawless. Are you serious, my nigga? Are you serious? So you gonna waste time arguing about something as minuscule as that? Are you serious? Do you think the apostles, do you think Yahushua would have wasted their time arguing with someone over something as minuscule as that? And I'm mentioning that just not for the aspect of identifying with the word Christian, but identifying, are we swallowing camels and straining at gnats? Ain't that's what the master said? Are we doing that? Are we doing that? Because if we doing that, we need to assess ourselves at that. Because that's what he said the scribes and Pharisees like to do, swallow camels and strain at gnats. You worried about the wrong thing. You arguing, fussing, and fighting about things you ought not to be arguing about. Nevertheless, 16 and 9. I said 10. My apologies. The fifth Malachim poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the Elohim of Shamahim, because their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. So I need y'all to understand this. Shalom, Brother Janice. I need y'all to understand this. When it goes down, now I tell you the beast is sitting on his throne. So that means the aspect of what we talked about last week, this man has been killed. He has been resurrected from the dead. He has said he is Elohim. Keeping point. And remember, we read Revelation 14, and that Malachim had already flown through the earth, preaching that everlasting basar, that everlasting gospel, that everlasting good news of salvation unto all those who hear and believe and obey, that the people need to repent and serve Yahuwah. His servants are already prophesying to an extent, because the testimony of Yahusha is the ruach of prophecy. So therefore, when you testify of Yahusha, you are prophesying to an extent, because it is the breath of prophecy. Every prophecy in the book is a testimony of Yahusha. That's why that is the ruach of prophecy. But let me stay on point, because we trying to gird up our loins like a man. And Yahuwah said, I demand you answer me these questions that he began to ask Job. So nevertheless, so when this fifth Malachim pours out this vial on the seat of the beast, and he makes his kingdom to go be full of darkness, let's go look in the law. Let's go look in the law so we can understand. Because then when we can understand, we can see things. So let's hold Revelation 16, because you don't need to let your heart be troubled. Remember, you don't need to faint in your mind, whether by word or ruach, by nothing. Gird up your loins like a man. Because that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit. Ain't no little bit, because a little bit is an understatement to say the least. Exodus chapter 10, if my memory serves me correctly. I might want to move that up back a little bit, because it ain't Exodus 10. It's, it was Exodus 10, wasn't it? It was Exodus 10. I'm tripping. No, it wasn't Exodus 10. Where we at, man? Where we at? But dang, I hate when my brain do that. It done locked up on me. I'm forgetting where I want. I believe it is Exodus 10, though. And now I forgot my thought. Because we need to fully understand what is going to occur. And the beast kingdom is not America. Understand this. The beast kingdom is not America. So the plagues that are going to fall on this place that he referred to as kingdom is not mutually exclusive to America. Don't look for that. Don't have your heart set on that. Because if you do, you're going to be fooled. And we ain't out here to be fooled, right? I know it's Exodus 10 and 22 is in my brain. I don't know why I just ain't sat back and looked at it. And I was right the whole time. I'm tripping. I don't know why I didn't go with what 10 and 21. I know what it was. That's my fault. Forgive me. Exodus 10 and 21. So what I want you to understand is y'all don't change. So what he did in the end, see, he gonna do again. But see the difference between this captivity, and remember that captivity in Hebrew is to be exiled, not necessarily to be captive, as in locked up, but you exiled. You're not in your land. You're not in your home. You're exiled. Exodus 10 and 21. Yahuwah said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand toward Shamahim, that there may be darkness over the land of Mizraim, even darkness which may be felt. So this is darkness that they could feel. Remember, they darken in counsel without knowledge. That's what he asked him. Who is he that darken counsel without knowledge? Listen to him now. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward Shamahim, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Mizraim 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. But the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, go ye, serve Yahuwah. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your little ones also go with you. Moses said, thou must give us also sacrifice and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto Yahuwah our Elohim. Our cattle shall go with us. There shall not be a hoof left behind. For therefore must we take to serve Yahuwah Elohim. We know not with what we must serve Yahuwah until we come hither. But Yahuwah hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. Pharaoh said unto him, Get thee from me, take heed to thyself, see my face no more. For in that day thou see my face, thou shalt die. Moses said, Thou hast spoken well, I will see thy face again no more. So now, children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. Everybody in Egypt was in darkness. What did this mean? Because he said he poured out a vial to darken darken the beast's whole kingdom. Now, I've told y'all this before, and I'll tell you again. Majority of the plagues in Revelation are the same plagues from Egypt. And y'all know why he doing the same plagues that he did in Egypt? So these people would know this is the Elohim of the Hebrews, the Elohim of the Abarim, the God of the Hebrews, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahuwah of hosts is his name, the Father of Yahushua HaMashiach. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. When they see them locusts, and they see them lice, and they see that darkness, they gonna know it's him. It's him. But see, people don't believe that. They don't believe it. They don't believe it at all. Now pause. Come with me over here to Matthew. Because remember, right? He got a darkened counsel. Who are the people? Now look at this here, right? He said they got to know this him. Follow me now. Exodus chapter 27. Matthew 27. I don't know why I said Exodus 27. Because that's definitely not what we're looking for. That's definitely not going to get us what we need. 27 and 45. See, hold on. Pause. For those who don't know, let's go to Amos 9 or Amos 8. Let's get that for those who not aware where this is spoken of. We could also look at it where it's taking you by. He going to put a cloud to blot. Shalom, brother GP, to blot out your iniquities. But let's do this here, man. 8. Amos 8. 8 7. 8 and 7. Amos, the book of Amos, book of the prophet Amos. 8 and 7. One thing I know about the word, people preach whatever they want to preach, teach whatever they want to teach, say whatever they want to say. But the word going to be what it's going to be, whether we right or whether we wrong, whether we know what we talk about or whether we don't. I praise Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua continually, daily, for the ability to understand his word. Others may not understand it. Others may not care to understand it. But I'm telling you, I can remember clear as day, 2015, sitting in the Duval County Jail, not reading the Bible because I just was like, oh, get me out of this charge and all this here. Reading it because I read books. And this is a book. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't understand nothing of this, but I don't know what none of this stuff means. This junk here, man. This junk here crazy. You know what I'm saying? And to sit here in January 2019 with an innate ability by the grace of Yahushua HaMashiach to understand this book is a very, very humbling thing. He ain't even talking about understanding it to expound it to another individual, because that's another level of humility that can't even be encapsulated with words. But to be able to say that I can read this book and I understand fully what is being conveyed, praise be to God in the name of Yahushua. I'm talking about that's a beautiful thing. And that's the only thing that I would want to be able to impart to any other human being. Because if you are able to understand the text, then you're able to save your soul. Period. If you understand the word and you won't get saved, that's a problem. I don't know what you had going on. You know what I'm saying? If you can understand this text and you can't deliver your soul from death, I don't know what you had going on. Amos 8 and 7. You who have sworn by the excellency, shall not the land tremble for this? And everyone mourn that dwell therein? And it shall rise up wholly as a flood, and it shall be cast out and drowned, as by the flood of Mizraim. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah Elohim, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in the clear day. And I will turn your feast into mourning, and your songs into lamentation, and I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head. And I will make it as the morning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. So it's talking about the crucifixion of Mashiach clearly. Let's go to Matthew 27, where this is completed. 27:45. But why did I point that out? Because even when we see with the Egyptians, when he calls it to go dark, it was a day of mourning for them. They was happy. Now they sad. And we're going to go back and sit back and look at them people in Revelation 16 where we started. They was happy. But now they sad. He done made it go dark. He done made it go dark. And you know why he had to make it go dark on them people? Because the same thing the Egyptians were doing is the same thing the beast and his followers were doing. They were darkening counsel without knowledge. They wanted to take the counsel of the living Elohim and make it void. You seen what Pharaoh said. Oh, don't take your herds with you. Don't do that. Just take it. No, nigga. That's not what y'all said. No, nigga. No. And remember the beast, what was he over there doing? He teaching people against the Kadash covenant. Oh, no, you trying to darken counsel without knowledge. We know what you're doing. We done peeped the play. 27 and 45. So straight up. You see what I'm saying? But then y'all see how that works. That's why you got to pay attention and look at what the text happening. Pharaoh was trying to darken counsel without knowledge, so Yah made it go dark on him. The beast is trying to darken counsel without knowledge, so Yah made it go dark on him. Now, Yah, in his infinite wisdom, to show you how I'm going to make your feast days of sorrow, and also said that he would blot out your iniquities like a thick cloud, but he was also, because y'all wanted to darken counsel without knowledge, I'm going to darken you. 27 and 45. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them stood there when they heard that and said, this man called for Elijah. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, let be. Let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. Yahushua, when he cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ruach, and behold, the veil of the temple was rent twain from the top to the bottom. The earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the Kased which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the Kadash city, and appeared unto many. Now when the centurion and they that were with him watching Yahushua saw the earthquake, those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, truly, this was the son of Elohim. So now they began to fear, because, he's got a... Y'all, he had to make it go dark. Let's go back to Revelation 16, though. Because we still talking about girding up your loins like a man. Got to gird them up. It's a fearful thing. You see the whole earth go dark. You might be a little nervous. But remember, he said the children, hold on. I almost forgot. He said the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. So I want you to come over here to Matthew 5. And from Matthew 5, Luke 11. And from Luke 11, John 1. That's why this is dealing with here. Don't let your heart be troubled. If you girding up your loins like a man, ain't no trouble in your heart. Ain't no trouble in your heart. Matthew 5 and 17. That joint be fun to me because everybody want to argue and debate about the same topics. You niggas ain't tired. I didn't mention that because I heard somebody debate and they went to this verse. I be talking about it's all this contention between Christians and Hebrews. I'm not finna argue with no Christian. I ain't finna argue with no Hebrew. I ain't finna argue with nobody, period. You know what I'm saying? We done did that debating and arguing and all that type of stuff. But then you kind of remember something. That arguing is not manly. Men should not be arguing with anyone. I'm not finna sit here and argue with you. You know what I'm saying? You got it. Because I'm a man and I'm not finna argue with you. We can have a dialogue and change of perspectives. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're arguing. But if it teeters into the point where we arguing, because if you're arguing, then 99.9% of the time you getting emotional, ain't no need for me to continue this conversation. Yes. That. Mm-hmm. Jay Bird. What you doing? You doing? You talk? Yeah. You do talk. Yeah. Think not that I'm come to destroy Torah or the prophets. I come not to destroy, but to fulfill. For truly I say unto you, till Shamahim and the rats pass, one jot or one tittle, shall in no wise pass from Torah to all be fulfilled. I'm sorry, I'm way too low. I needed 13. My apologies. 5 and 13. No excuse for that. You are the salt of the earth. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is henceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and to give light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and esteem your Abba, which is in Shamahim, glorify your Father, which is in heaven. So why that important? Because when they were Mizraim, the whole land was in darkness, but the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. So they were light to a people that maybe the children of Mizraim, the people of Egypt, would have gave esteem to our Father in heaven, Yahuwah of hosts, and they chose not to. But we didn't dim our light. See, he was trying to also to show you how light excelled darkness, as the book of Ecclesiastes so excellently puts it. How it also showing you that in 1 John chapter 1 and about verse 5, the Elohim is light and no part darkness. Whosoever have fellowship with darkness does not keep the truth of Elohim. He is a liar. So when you see the Egyptians dwelling in darkness, it's because they had no fellowship with Yahuwah, because Yahuwah is light. When you see the children of Yasharal dwelling in the light, it's because they had fellowship, agreement, unison, oneness with the living Elohim. When you see the darkness being brought on the Mashiach, it's because at that particular time he was separated from Elohim. Therefore, he had no fellowship with him. But he had to become that even in the midst of the cloud, he was still light. And let's see how. Shalom, Brother Francis. Shalom. Let's see how. John chapter 1. You know, you got to sit back and look at the word. Pay attention to what he's showing you. And he's showing you with making the Egyptians dwell in darkness and the children of Yasharal dwell in light, that there's a separation between his children and the world's children, or Satan's children. You don't praise y'all. It's showing you a difference. It's a difference. This stuff's just not in here just to be in here. It's to illustrate a point between the difference between the children of death and the children of life. Which child are you going to be? And in order to get to that point, you're going to have to gird up your loins like a man and carry and conduct yourself as a man. You know what's funny to me? And y'all, whether we're going to get to all that this week. Hebrew dudes be quick to say you need a covering. Nowhere in the book does it say a husband is a woman's covering. I dare any man to show it to me. Don't you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and try to use that, because that man never wrote that. That man went to talking about coverings. That man would talk about covering in your head, prophesying and praying, man or woman. Never said a man could be his wife's covering. What you covering her from? You can't cover that woman for nothing. You can't cover her sins. You can't cover her soul. You can't do nothing. So don't you open your mouth and tell that bold-faced lie. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. Proceed, young sir. Proceed. So, why did I say that? Because every man talking about, I'm the head, respect me as a man, this, that, then, the third. Are you carrying and conducting yourself as a man? Oh, I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull it. Are you carrying and conducting yourself as a man? There are traits that are indicative of men, regardless if you godly. Are you a man? Don't ask no woman to submit to you and follow you and you not a man. You just a little boy. And how much money you make don't make you a man. What kind of car you drive don't make you a man. It's what you stand for. It's your values, and it's your conduct, and it's your mindset. And about 85% of our young men, they're not men in the mind. Saying you believe, saying you are Israelite don't make you no man. Don't make you no man. It's characteristics and traits. And of course, we're going to look at it godly, and we're going to look at it naturally. And some of the things that pertain naturally pertain to godliness too, truth be told. That's what I gather from it. You know, I thank y'all for it. I'm a master of being able to take natural things and bring it back to the spiritual. That's what the master said. If I've told you of earthly things and you haven't believed, why would you understand if I told you a heavenly thing? Look at all the parables in the word and look how they use natural things to describe spiritual things. Look how they do it. Come on now. Let's come over here to this John chapter 1. That's why I told you long back, it's time to be sons and daughters of Elohim. That's what you got to be to. It's time to be a man. It's time to be a woman. Because you know I'm making this here, and I would think about going in a different direction this week, but y'all know what he was doing by the several avenues of where he pointed at this where we needed to go. Because one thing about a man will accept accountability. It doesn't matter who it comes from. When you look at David, Abigail held David accountable. He did not reject that. He didn't say, who is this woman telling me this? She ain't got no business telling me this. He said, praise Yah. He sent you to give me these words. For I've been done spilt blood of my own accord. That woman came and held him accountable. Even though she was really coming to say, please don't kill him. Spare our souls and our lives. She trying to save her life. Was she really trying to save her husband's life and the life of every young man in that house? But in the process of praying for mercy and compassion from this man, in reality, she held him accountable. And he acknowledged that and acknowledged her. See, one thing I noticed about people in this word and black people in general, they hate accountability. They hate it. You know it's a blessed thing if you got friends who will hold you accountable. You know how even more it's a blessed thing to have a woman, your woman hold you accountable, for her to tell you about yourself. But oh no, don't talk like that. Because then them niggas don't want to hear that. If you get offended that somebody holding you accountable, in reality, you don't want to be loved, and you proud, and you stubborn, and you rebellious, and you not no man. Because guess what? That gird your loins up like a man, that was y'all holding Job accountable for running his mouth. Because he was talking to Job. First thing he told Job, you darken in counsel without knowledge. Gird up your loins like a man and answer me. I demand you to answer me these questions. He was holding him accountable. That's why Job say, I repent in sackcloth and ashes when y'all got finished talking to him. He said, you was right. I was wrong. Ain't no shame in being held accountable. You should desire it. If you don't desire that, don't utter out your mouth you a man. Just say you got a X chromosome. Just say you got a penis. That's it. Don't even say you a male. Just say you a boy. Because that's what you got to be. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. The same was in the beginning with Elohim. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shined in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. Oh my God. So now we see that the light was shining in well, that was highly unfortunate. Just talking about this notification, that's all. Jets hired somebody, don't know why they did it. How am I going to say it right? Light shined in the children of Yasharal dwellings. Wasn't no light in the Egyptians' dwellings. They didn't understand it. They didn't understand it. Let's read that again. In him was light, and the life was the life of men. And the light shined in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. Let's keep on going. There was a man sent from Elohim whose name was John. The same came for a witness to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which light every man that come into the world. So if Yahushua is in you, then you would have light in you, because the world is in darkness, because you're supposed to be a light to those on that hill. But let's take a look, right? Let's swing over here to the Philippians 2. And like I told you, we're going to take a long way to it, because we have to look at the things that Yah requires of a man. We're going to look at, like when David told Solomon, show yourself a man. We're going to look at where in Corinthians it say, in children, be in malice be children, but in understanding be men. So in your understanding of the word, you ought to know what it means to be a man. To be a man. And see, and it's probably good, right? Because I told you, I'm not too familiar with what toxic masculinity is. I've been looking into it a little here and there, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen that some people's consensus on the opposite side of it feel like it's an attack on manhood. You know what I'm saying? I do understand that, truthfully, Western civilization, for all in most parts, is a matriarchal society. You know, Eastern civilization, of where we derive from, is more of a patriarchal society. We're also living in a society that is Anglo-Saxon dominated, with Anglo-Saxon ideals of what a man is and shouldn't be. So that's why we have, you know, a little bit more emphasis on things that are termed to be aggressive. in nature of what defines a man, because for the most part, we've been allowing Caucasians to define what it is to be a man. Some of the things that they have defined to be a man are accurate in what a man should be. A man should be a leader. A man should be confident. A man should have the ability to have a clear and precise vision of where he's going to go. How else will any woman follow him if she has no idea where he's going, because he don't know where he's going? You know what I'm saying? And the word tell you that. If the blind lead the blind, then they both falling in the ditch. So if this nigga don't know where he going, I'm going to fall off right along with him. So, you know, a man should be compassionate. A man should be confrontational. And when we talk confrontational, we talk about not arguing, but confronting issues, matters, situations head on. A man that takes accountability. A man is also dominated to a certain extent. Not dominated as first as ruling over people, but be the ability to stand firm and move. A man is a man of respect. A man is supposed to be compassionate. A man is supposed to be a servant. A man is supposed to be loving. A man is supposed to be caring. A man is supposed to be understanding. A man is supposed to be sensitive and considerate of the people around them feelings when they're expressed to them. Because these are the attributes of your God, who is the manliest man who ever walked the earth. Let that be known. This is the manliest man that ever walked the earth. A man is allowed to be weak because the manliest man that ever walked the earth was exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. When he saw his friend Lazarus dead, he wept. And wept in front of all, and with no concern about what any of them thought, because a man does not need validation from another. A man is in control of his emotions, and his emotions, he just don't get angry and fire off the handle. He can control himself. If you can't control your emotions, you can't say you're a man. That's not saying you don't have emotions. That means you can control them. That means they don't rule you. That means they don't dominate you. That means you don't make decisions and moves dictated off of how you feel at any moment, because that feeling will pass. Men understand that. A man has self-control. You got a lot of dudes, they ain't men. You know you ain't a man if you got a problem with a man and you won't say it to that man. It's even worse if you say it to a woman. You got an issue with a man and you tell it to a woman. You got a coochie yourself. Because what man would do that? It's bad enough if you don't take it to him, but if you take it to a woman, you's a buster. And what makes you think that woman would respect you after you do that? So are you going to talk to that man about that? So you want me to respect you after that? You're not a man. Yahushua had an issue. He went straight to the Pharisees. He didn't sit around and tell Mary Magdalene. He didn't tell Martha, I don't like the Pharisees, man. Them niggas hypocrites. I don't like them niggas. He told them, woe unto you, nigga. You's a sucker. When they did things directly to him that he had a problem with. A man stands on his own 2 feet, meaning what he built his foundation on, he's standing on that. He ain't moving off that for another individual. A man will not be around here leeching off other people. Remember Paul said, I don't speak out of want. He said, in all things I've learned to abide. I've learned to be cold. I've learned to be naked. I've learned to be hungry. I've learned to be full. I've learned to be housed. I've learned not to be housed. He said, I can do all things through Hamashiach who strengthened me. I can deal with all of that. A man has the ability to persevere. Men have dedication. Men have consistency. Men have drive. These are all things in the word. It's all in the word. It's all in the word. Y'all willing, we're going to get to all of it. Because it's important. But see, I talked about this a long time ago because a brother, man, he was like, he was asking me, like he was dealing with a woman. Woman told him she didn't respect him as a man. And he was wondering why she didn't. And she laid out why she didn't. And if I was her, I wouldn't have respected him either by how he was carrying and conducting himself at the time. Because he wasn't carrying himself like a man. And there was no way that he was going to maintain some, Philippians 2:12. He was going to maintain some attraction to this woman behaving in the fashion that he wore. That's on one of the old channels. Old video. About good 4-5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't conducting himself like a man. He said, wherefore, my beloved, As you have always obeyed, not as my presence only, but now as much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is Elohim which work in you both to will and to do for his good pleasure. Do all things without murmuring and disputings, that you may be blameless, harmless, the sons of Elohim, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Now remember, we was amongst the Egyptians. This is a crooked and perverse people. We shine like lights in our dwelling places. They in darkness. So guess what thing is going to happen as we finally get back to Revelation 16? And I'm going to at least get y'all the word for man that's in this particular chapter of Job, of which we are reading. But just imagine, right? If there's darkness upon the beast's kingdom and you in the word, don't you think? And when I say in the word, I'm talking about in Yahusha. Not talking about read no Bible, talking about you keep no Shabbat. I'm talking about in Yahusha. When I say in the word, that's what I mean. Just for future reference. If I say somebody in the word or supposed to be in the word, we talking about being in the word made flesh, being in the Son of God. That's what we were talking about. We ain't talking about just saying, I believe. You know how many niggas done looked me in my face and said they believed and were live from hell? Ain't believed Nan Tapper? Too many to name. Nevertheless, and I ain't gonna name him and wouldn't name him because it is what it is. Individuals, they just doing y'all's will. Y'all's will gonna be accomplished. Y'all willing to keep my mind and heart as long as everybody who viewing it and will watch it later, that he keep your mind and heart in his word, that your soul may be preserved at the end. That's our heart's desire, that everybody be saved. But unfortunately, everybody don't have that same desire. They just don't have it. 16 and 9, 16 and 10. And that fifth Malachim poured out that vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the Elohim of Shamahim because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. So when he brought the darkness on these people, it makes sense that he would bring darkness on them because they're not light. Because they were rioting in the day. Hold what you got. 1 Thessalonians 5. 1 Thessalonians 5. I got to crank it up a notch because we about out of hour, but I started at a good time, so I got time. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 4. You know, we got stuff for the ladies, but this is for the men here though, because that's what we got to be. Because I hear brothers always say that black woman don't do this and a black stuff. Don't worry about her. You get yourself right. You can't get her right. You ain't got yourself right. See, that's what nigga problem is. How you gonna heal somebody else? You ain't healed yourself. That's impossible. How you gonna build up somebody you ain't built yourself? How you gonna correct somebody you ain't corrected yourself? That don't make no sense. But it's easier to say that this man ain't nothing, and it's easier for the woman to say that this man ain't nothing, or the man to say the woman ain't nothing, because in that individual fashion, nobody has to take accountability. I seen a new topic I'd never seen before, and that was toxic femininity. I got to look at that. I had no idea what that was. I guess that's ultra feminism, but don't quote me on that because I don't know. But nevertheless, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. You are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken in the night. So you not children of the night. You ain't riding in the daytime. Because that's what the children of daughters do. They ride in the daytime. Come on back to Revelation 16. That's what these people in the beast kingdom want to do. Ride in the daytime. Now they mad. They want to blaspheme Yah because they got these sores and pains. And imagine that. He made it go dark. These people went in pain. He tormented them. You think the people who are today getting tormented? The children of Yasharal got light in their dwellings. Yahusha and you got light in your dwellings. I called for Luke 11, but don't worry about it. We get it later. And the sixth Malachim poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean ruachs like frogs come out of the mouth of the serpent, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the ruachs of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to battle of that great day of Elohim Almighty. So, he sent a little spirits of devils, persuade the people. See, pause. When you see that it say the spirit of devils working miracles, going to the kings of the earth to gather them to battle, the first thing that should come to your mind is 1 Kings 22. When Yah sent a lion ruach unto the prophets of who? Of Ahab. To gather them to come to the battle so Ahab could be killed. It's the same word. Nothing different. Go read 1 Kings 22, 1 Kings chapter 22. And look if you don't see the same thing. Only difference is that man ain't working miracles. But he gonna send a lying spirit to take these people and deceive them the same way that Yah sent a lying spirit to deceive the prophets of Ahab to gather them in the battle so they could be slaughtered. He said, behold, I come as a thief. Baruch is he that watch and keep his garments, lest he walk naked and that they see his shame. This is what we came here for. Blessed is he that watch. Keep guard. You guarding the word. That's what it is to watch. Because he said he coming as a thief. He said you blessed if you watch. Because now you're going to be able to keep your garments. That means your shame ain't seen. That means your sin ain't seen. Your sins are covered. Again, going back, I dare anybody to pull the script to show me a man is a woman's covering. I'm tired of hearing niggas say that and they ain't got no book, just running your mouth. You need a covering, sis. Get your stupid. If she know any word, she'd be like this here. Oh, get your stupid butt out of my face. I know you don't know no word. Boy, I can't entertain you. You stupid. Talking about you my covering. What you gonna cover me with? A pillow, a blanket, a sheet, a knit sweater? Because you can't cover me, nigga. Only one person can cover us, and that's Yahushua HaMashiach. Basically meaning our Elohim. Can't no man cover no woman. And what type of man would be that proud to utter them type of words out of his mouth? Do you not even understand what that means when you say that? You saying you covering somebody's sins, fool. You saying you covering this woman from iniquity, fool. You can't save that woman and she can't save you. Guess what? On Judgment Day, when them books open, boy, you going in front of that throne without your wife and without your husband. You can bet that. You better remember what he said in Job 15. He said whether Daniel, Noah, or Job was there, he said they ain't going to deliver anybody. Every man going to deliver himself by his own righteousness. If that wife is righteous and that husband wicked, that husband going to hell and that wife entering into the kingdom and vice versa. Can't cover that woman. What you covering her from? Please find it in the text. Somebody find it. Of course, see, her father is her first covering. That's not her first covering. That's her first ruler, for lack of a better term. This is the first man who she had to learn to love by respecting and obeying him. This is one of the major reasons why a lot of our women in this country don't know how to respect and obey a man, because they never had one to respect and obey their daddy. Where would they learn that from? If a little girl is raised without her daddy, where is she going to get the framework of respecting, obeying a male figure from? Where is she going to get that from? She never had it. And if she had women in her family who ruled over and dominated men, then that's the attitude that she's going to approach. That's how she's supposed to conduct herself. But men in these days and times is so simple, they don't even take the time. Shoot, if she ain't had a daddy, she might not even know how to love a man, because she never had a daddy to love. And love is to respect and obey. As forth as it is to a man. And you can remove the obey and just put the respect. To love a man is to respect him. If he feels respected, he's going to feel love. He's not going to feel love because you whisper sweet nothings in his ear, or because you do sexual favors, or that you cook this or you clean that. It's your level of respect. And the biggest problem is our women get with men they don't respect. And these men feel like, oh, she don't love me, she don't respect me, because you're not giving her nothing to respect. So why would she? So if you feel like your woman don't listen or ain't submissive or don't respect you, you need to look at yourself. And if you can judge within yourself, I'm giving her something to respect, then okay, you have a wicked woman. But you got to look at yourself first. If we don't even sit there and consider that. How's this woman going to know how to respect and obey you and she ain't never done it in her life? She ain't never seen it. How's she going to know how to do it? Same token, how do you expect this man to know how to properly and love and care for a woman? He ain't never seen it. So, but the one thing that it is the common denominator in both of them situations I just stated is a desire for the party to do it. Because if you want to love a woman, You're gonna learn how to love that woman. You're gonna push forward and figure that out. You won't hold that crutch of I never seen it, I don't know. You're gonna do what you got to do. Yeah, they're gonna try to use it, and we're gonna look at it since you said. Let's look at it, brother. Let's look at it, Keith. Let's look at it. Let's see what 1 Corinthians 7 say. Let's see what it say, and see if we can pull that up out the bag. Hey, sugar baby, what you doing over there? I see your hands. You have two of them. Let's look at 1 Corinthians 7. Let's see what we find. Let me skim through. We start at the beginning of the chapter. 1 Corinthians 7 tell you how a woman don't have power over a body and a man don't got power over his body, and don't defraud each other from sex. Tell you, hey, I wish you could abide like I do. And hey, if you can't hold back, it's better for you to marry than to burn. Then he go to talking about, hey, man, if you're married, I command you. Command, yet not I, but the Lord. Don't let the wife depart from her husband. Then he tell you, hey, but if she do depart, let her remain unmarried to be reconciled to her husband. Don't let the husband divorce his wife. He say, but I speak I, not the Lord. If any brother have a wife that believe not, and he want to stay there, let him stay there. Same with the woman. Now, this is Paul's opinion when he's stating that if you married to somebody who don't believe. But then he say in verse 14, the unbelieving husband sanctified by the wife, and believing wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now they kadesh. So sanctified means set apart. So we ain't got no covering there. So if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. Say you ain't called to no bondage in that case. For what knoweth, this verse 16, for what know thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband? Or know thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife? So you can't save your spouse. He say, but as Elohim have distributed to every man, let him walk as he called. And he said, you've been called circumcised. He go to talking about being the Lord's free man and abiding. Then verse 25, he go to talking about, he's obtained mercy to be faithful, and he's supposed to be the distress. He say, if you bound to a wife, seek not to be loose. And if you're loosed from a wife, don't seek one. Then he tell you, hey, if thou married, thou ain't sinned. Or, Virgin Mary, she ain't sinned. And then he go to tell you like, hey, man, time's short. It's going to be a time where they that have wives and be though they ain't had none. And they that weep as if they didn't weep. And they that rejoice as if they didn't rejoice. And they that buy as if they didn't own nothing. And then he go to tell you, hey, as they that use this world is not abusing it for the fashion of this world. And I'm glad that he said that, right? Because this was part of the kill me. My home when they talking about, hey, I rejoice when a young black man drop out of high school. I said, you sound so stupid. You got to know how to use the world without abusing it. There are things in this world that are tools that you can use for your advantage to further yourself and to further your family. Don't be an idiot. Do you know what I'm saying? As a man, you should be able to give words that are add to your woman's soul's progression. To put it in another word, to give her some knowledge. Do you know what I'm saying? To give that to your children some knowledge. Because these are the things that make you a man. A woman wants a man that she can be able to learn something from, something tangible, something that she can take with her long after you gone, something that you can impart to your children long after you gone. Niggas ain't trying to impart nothing but some penis and hard times, and that don't make no sense. Then it said right here, right? Then I would have you without carefulness, that him that unmarried, that all he got to worry about is pleasing the Lord. But they that's married, they got to please their wife, please their husband. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying you got to be no scholar, but you got to be able to teach the woman something. You got to be able to teach the children something. And guess what? If you don't have a desire for it, get one. See, that's no excuse. And see, that's the part that with most men that really just grinds my gears. You want to be husbands and you want to be fathers, but you want to continue to activate and move as little boys. Elevate your game. If you want to step into certain roles, then elevate your game to meet them roles. That means if you weren't a man who was a diligent learner, become one for your children's sake, or stay single and childless. Don't get people mired up in your constant pursuit of mediocrity. You know what I'm saying? Don't get them people caught up in that. Because guess what? If you continue to elevate yourself and make yourself great, that very well may be the case to motivate your wife and your children to do the same. And not because you just talked about it, but because you put your best foot forward to do it. Where is the vision? Where is the ambition? Where is the desire and drive? Where does it list at? What else we got here? He speak for your own profit, cast a snare, and then he go to talking about, ain't no covering now. Y'all can read 1 Corinthians 7. Dude, ain't no covering now. You can't no covering there. Y'all the only one covering. That's right. So when we look at, let's go back to Job 38 so I can at least give y'all the word for man before we get out of here. Now, gird up, right? I told you it's Aleph, Zayin, and Rosh. Means the gird, clove, or the gird with strength. And when we take the Aleph, Zayin, and Rosh, we get the power of the fruit of the highest. Well, let's look at John 12 to give a brief synopsis. Y'all willing, of course, it's going to spring itself out a little bit later. And then, of course, Galatians 5, you should know where we headed. And I'll get you a little 2 Peter chapter 1 on top of it. Excuse me. Because if you're going to gird up your loins or clove your loins or your seat of virility, well, not loins, the loins is the seat of virility, but to take that to gloat up your seat of validity, you got to do that. You know what I mean? Like John 12, though, 23. Well, 24. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except the corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, abide alone. But if it die, it bring forth much fruit. Now, of course, pause. Something we dealt with many, many moons ago. You look at Adam. He was that seed that fell into the ground. And he abided alone. But then y'all put a deep sleep on him, which means he died. And then he brought forth fruit because then out came Eve, the mother of all living. Eve in this situation is representative of the Ruach HaKodesh because she produces the living. Remember, she's the mother of all living. She's the mother of all Chi, or the Chay, or the Chi in the Yod. She's the mother of all living. The Ruach HaKodesh, if you look at it, because it is a feminine word, even though it's not a feminine spirit, it's a feminine word. She becomes the Ruach of all living, or the breath of all living, or how the Ruach HaKodesh is the mother of all living, or produces children, or produces fruit, the fruit of her womb, which is why you see Yahushua's side not being closed, as you saw Adam's side being closed. Nevertheless, in Galatians 5, 5 and 22. See, one thing about it, right? You can't get with a woman and care for her soul if you don't care for your soul. See, a lot of dudes, I'm gonna teach this woman this word. I'm gonna lead her in righteousness. Can't lead that woman in righteousness if you don't care about your own soul. Because ain't no way you're gonna be able to care about hers. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of dudes like to give script to a woman. That don't mean they care about her soul. They just using that script to attain that woman. It's nothing wrong with letting that woman know you a godly man and you would like to be with her in a godly union. You know what I'm saying? But even regardless, you still have a care for her soul above all. Even if you're already married to her. Her soul is important to you. Just like your soul should be important to her. See, and that's what we missing. People just want to be with each other just to be with each other because they're dealing with the word. Not because they want to be with each other, but also have a genuine love and care for each other's salvation and growth and elevation in Yahuwah first, and then naturally second. Nevertheless, Galatians 5 and 22. But the fruit of the Ruach is love. So when you look at the power of the fruit of the highest, when you're girding yourself or you're taking on that strength, you're taking the love of Elohim. And I called for Isaiah 26 and didn't even read, but y'all know what it is. Trust in Yah, for trusting in Yah is everlasting strength. The joy of Yah is your strength. So now you have that joy and that shalom and that long suffering and that gentleness and that goodness and that faith and that meekness and that temperance. So now this is the power of the fruit of the highest because you've girded yourself. So when you're girding yourself with the strength of the highest, that's what you're girding yourself with. Love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and self-control. Let's look at 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1 and 5. And he'll go on into a little bit. And these are the things that are going to make you a man. And like I said, we might be on this 2 weeks because I might need to dissect it in that fashion if it be Yahuwah's will. But we have to look at it in that fashion. You're going to be a man, you girding yourself up. What you girding yourself up with? Those items. How you gonna say you a man and you ain't girding yourself with gentleness and meekness and patience and joy and long suffering and faith and self-control? How are you girding yourself up as a man and you have no self-control? 2 Peter chapter 2. I'm sorry, chapter 1. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. And see also, and this for our women, you know, if you could sit back and you can look and you can identify these attributes, then you know you're dealing with a godly man. And if you know that, then of course that should be the man that you should choose to court, marry, and procreate with. Period. Like when we were talking about last year about this time, maybe really actually about next month, looking at the attributes of virtuous women and godly women, you were supposed to be looking at the attributes the way you could say, I see Rachel in her. I see Sarah in her. You know what I'm saying? I see Deborah in her. I see Mary in her. So that means I see the word of Yah in her. That's the woman that you should pursue. And say, you know what? I want to marry this woman. Same token, a woman supposed to look at, I see Yahusha, I see Jeremiah, Isaiah, I see the word in this man. I see Yah in this man. I see Yahusha in this man. This is the man who I want to be my husband. I'm not going to entertain anything less than that. All these niggas coming up with is quoted scriptures, garments, and stupidity. That ain't gonna get you nowhere. Nigga better be lucky I ain't got no daughters, because I trained mine well, and if they brought somebody lesser, I guess you had a bad day. Hope it work out for you, you know. I'm not going to shun you, but look like you had a bad day. Because we taught you better than that. We taught you better than that. You supposed to know better. But it's all right, baby. Y'all willing, he humble his heart, and he gets some sense in it. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. According as his divine power have given unto us all things pertaining unto life and godliness, through the knowledge of him that have called us to esteem and virtue, whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these you might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped corruption that is in the world through lust. And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue. And we talked about this not too long ago. And to virtue, knowledge, and to knowledge, temperance, and to temperance, patience, and to patience, godliness, and to godliness, brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness, charity. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you shall be neither barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach. So when you see these things, that's the power of the fruit of the highest. It gives you the ability to have access and be a partaker of the divine nature, or the Ruach HaKadosh, or the mother of all living, or the set apart breath. Set apart spirit. And that's what happens as a man when you gird yourself up. Now, we're not going to talk about loins, but the word for man is gabar, gabur. It ain't ish. As most individuals always mention, it's gabar, a gabur, I should say. And that is a strong man, a warrior who has the ability of strength or the ability to fight. It is a gamal, it is a bat, and it is a rosh. And from that, we're going to get to lift the son of the highest. So when you look at a strong man, a warrior in the word, because remember what we talked about enduring hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach, a strong man in the word is going to continually exalt the son of the highest. And we'll end it just like this here in John chapter 5. That's how we're going to end it. So when we sit back and you looking at somebody who say he a man in this word, they're going to be lifting up the son of the highest. If they not lifting up the son of the highest, you ain't dealing with no man. And lifting up the son of the highest ain't just saying, Yahushua is the son of God. Oh, I can point him out in the scriptures. Oh, no. To lift up the son of the highest would it be to take up your stake and follow him, which means to crucify yourself with him, which means you would have girded up your loins, which means you would have girded up your loins. That means you would have the power of the fruit of the highest. And if you would have that power, then you would be considered to be a strong man, a warrior with the ability to fight. Because remember, our weapons are not carnal, and our warfare is not carnal. You have to sit back and look at that. Pay attention to that. John chapter 5, verse 19. Just something to think about. You know what I'm saying? Because it's Wednesday. We can't go into... I've already went a little longer than usual, but it's probably about 8:29, 8:30, I would guess, based on the time I think I started and what the clock is running at right now. So it's not late. So I don't go as long as I used to. Back in the days, Wednesdays, hour 45. Almost like it was a regular Shabbat. Had the niggas on there. They be like, this nigga going too long. You know what I'm saying? That's what we used to do. Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you that the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he see the Father do, for what things soever he do, these things also do the Son likewise. For the Father loved the Son and show him all things that himself do. And he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. For as the Father raised up the dead and quickened them, even so the Son quicken whom he will. For the Father judged no man, but have committed all judgment unto the Son, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honor not the Son, honor not the Father, which hath sent him. So in order to be a strong man, to lift up the Son of the highest, you have to honor, reverence the Son. So hallelujah for Yahusha and the word. Appreciate everybody this evening and bless everybody out the house of Yah in the name of Yahusha. Definitely appreciate y'all time this evening. But yeah, we talking about being a man. That's what we on this week. We talking about being a man. What it means to be a man in the word. What it means to be a man naturally. Of course, we'll be able to bring in about things for the ladies, because some things go both ways. I don't know. I can let you know that we will mention some of the things about being an alpha male and an alpha female who are willing Shabbat day on camera for everybody to give their perspectives to those particular things if they so choose. But the things that actually what is classified by that, from what I've read, are not negative attributes. But I think a lot of people, because I don't hear too many women claiming to be an alpha female, but a lot of men who claim to be alpha males don't classify in the least bit. In the least bit. I'll tell you, the first time I ever heard that term, I was 22 years old. I had no idea what this man was talking about. You know what I'm saying? All I know, I was sitting outside of the place with apartment we were trapping at, waiting on Madrid to bring me some weed, and talking to my homeboy, and he was like, "Boy, you an alpha male." I'm like, okay. I don't know what you're talking about, and alrighty then. And that was the end of that for me, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't really start looking into it till about maybe a couple years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, of what that really was and what that meant. You know what I'm saying? But what people call that, at least the main part of it, which is the confidence, which that if you are a true man of faith, you should be considered to be an alpha in that regard. And if we would look at alpha, we know that's the first letter of the Greek alphabet. And if we translate it to our alphabet, that would be the Aleph, and that would be the leader or someone who's powerful or strong. And it's a lot of dudes out here, they not powerful, they not strong, they pretending to be, overcompensating for doing certain things that would be perceived as strength to really mask the insecurities that they have as men. A lot of over aggressiveness and see a lot of stuff, and I've seen it. That's what they call that with toxic masculinity. Oh, that's over. I wouldn't say necessarily that's somebody who's toxic. It's usually somebody who's insecure. So instead of sitting back looking at it in that regards, figure out where do they lack confidence in themselves as a man? Where did that come from? That they feel like that they need to overcompensate in their behavior to give off this facade that people want to deem to be toxic, and then cut themselves off from this person. Because clearly this man has an issue and pain that he hadn't dealt with, and he doesn't know how to deal with it, so he compensates with it by being aggressive. Then you have some people who are aggressive in that nature because they're just simply evil people. You know what I'm saying? You got some people, they ain't got no issue. They just evil. They just want to be aggressive and do harm to people and just do wrong by people. And there's nothing wrong with them. They just evil people. They just have a disagreeable spirit. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. Some people just disagreeable. You know what I'm saying? I listen to a lot of things because I got to say, man, I enjoy learning about human behavior. And I just enjoy learning about human behavior because I'm a human, you know what I'm saying? It's just easier to understand people and deal with people if you can try to get a grasp on how they think. And when you get a grasp on how they think, then you can get a better grasp of how to deal with them, or at least to be able to assist them if they so desire. Like I heard a gentleman talking about this earlier, like, And it was from a woman, and it was a perspective from a woman who was saying, why dudes don't open up. And she was like, because most of the time a woman don't let them. Because when they try to do it, they stop them, they interrupt them, they go off on them, they don't listen to them, and this, that, that, and the third. And I say for me, I can't speak for any other gentleman on here. And before I let y'all slide, if y'all want to throw your 2 cents on there, you very well can do so. But at least for me, like if I'm got an issue or I'm dealing with something, I'm not just going to sit down with a group of people and just start talking about it. I just don't do that. Do you know what I'm saying? If you ask, I will talk to you about it. It's not very many people on this earth that if something occurs to that level that I'm going to call and talk to them. And I can really count that on one hand. You know what I'm saying? Like if I got an issue, I'm going to call this individual first. And I'm going to talk to them about it. But if you think we just in a group and I'm just going to start talking about how I feel or what I'm doing, probably not. Some things that what I feel ain't nothing more than, it's the situation that I'm in. I just got to deal with it. I don't feel anything. I just got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Got to overcome it. Got to find a way to adjust and adapt. You know what I'm saying? My feeling is there's an obstacle. There's an issue. What can I do to eliminate it? You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the wrong way of looking at things. Maybe it's not. That's how I see it. That's why I like to talk to y'all about these type of things so everybody can hear people's perspectives, understand each other's perspectives, and maybe add something to the conversation that assists everybody along. Because where I come from, that was called each one teach one. And everybody should have that ability to do so because everybody has their own life experiences. Everybody has their own perspectives, and your life experience and perspectives are not invalid because they're valid to you because you experienced them and went through them. So, amen. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. Bless everybody out of the house of y'all name of Yahushua. You who are willing, we pick it up on the Shabbat. Go through it a little bit more in depthly. And again, those of y'all that's on the stream, I try to catch it because I got it set up where I can go back and look at it. On certain stuff, you can definitely type in your thoughts on the chat whenever you're ready. Because if I look at it and catch it, we will deal with it and respond and talk about it. Not a big deal. Everybody get an opportunity to share how they feel. But with that being said,